What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video. Today is finally here. It is Tuesday, April 23rd. It's Game 7. Toronto versus Boston. The Maple Leafs versus the Bruins. Game 7. This had to happen, didn't it? Of course, 2 out of the last 3 times the Toronto Maple Leafs have made the Stanley Cup playoffs. They have faced off against the Boston Bruins and lost both of them in Game 7. We know how good this Bruins team is. We know how good this Toronto team is. This Game 7 should be very exciting in Boston at TD Gardens. Now, obviously, we know how the outcomes have been. The one time the Leafs were up 4-1 in the third period, and it looked like Boston was finally going to be taken down because they looked like they had a strong team that year. And Toronto ended up choking a 4-1 lead and losing in overtime. Then, of course, last season, Toronto was up 4-3 in the third period, and off of a really nice Kasperi-Kapanen goal, and then Boston came back to win that game. In that third period, they just basically took over the whole game, and it looked like a completely different team. So this year is going to have to be really different if the Toronto Maple Leafs want to be able to take this game. There's a lot of key factors going into this game, but starting off with the obvious, of course, we got the game tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's probably going to be Frederik Andersen versus Tuukka Rask. I can't see how it would be any different, knock on wood. Hopefully nothing changes there. But both goalies have had their moments in this series, good and bad. But, of course, these are the starting guys. These are the guys that Boston and Toronto want to be in the net for Game 7. Of course, it is in Boston as well. That crowd is always very good. That's something that I'll never talk about Boston fans. Like, they're crazy, they're loud. That building's always really exciting. So should be a really exciting atmosphere. Of course, in Toronto, they'll be outside watching the game as well. The Raptors are playing, so it'll be a mix there. So it should be a very fun atmosphere regardless of where it is or where the fans are. And this game, it means a lot to both teams. This Boston team, of course, has been pretty decent, pretty good all year. They had their stretches of being a decent team, but then, poured it on in the second half. They're a very good team. Toronto was really good in the first half of the season and then kind of fell off a little bit in the second half. And it's all led up to this. And, it's so funny. When you look at the standings throughout the year, you're like, oh boy, this is going to turn into a Toronto-Boston round 1 matchup. And, of course, it did. So, some key factors for tonight. John Tavares and Mitch Marner for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they have to be the best players tonight. They have been, Marner's had his moments in the series, of course. Tavares, I believe, just has the one empty net goal, or, he's just kind of been, doing his thing, and he hasn't been bad, but he needs to, he just needs to step it up a little bit. We need a goal, a big goal tonight from John Tavares. We need a big goal tonight from Mitch Marner, or at least his playmaking ability. We need some smart coaching from Mike Babcock, who has been out-coached quite a bit in this series. Although he's had some good games, he's been out-coached a little bit. You're going to need Freddie to have a real good night. And you're going to need to see the continued good play of, guys like Austin Matthews, Morgan Riley. For as much as you guys want to criticize him, William Nylander, who has actually been dealing with a pretty awful third line with Brown and Marleau, who haven't been that good in this series. Patrick Marleau's getting way too much ice time, so hopefully Babcock will give that ice time to his really good players. We're seeing a pretty decent fourth line. Gauthier, Ennis, and Moore have been good. I still think that Moore and Ennis should be up with Nylander, and Brown and Marleau should be on that fourth line. You want speed and skill on that third line, guys that can play with Nylander and actually be effective. But you're hoping to get production from that third line tonight, regardless of what's happened. Marleau, Nylander, Brown, they have to score a goal. They got to get a goal tonight. The depth has to be there. If you want to beat the Boston Bruins, you need to have that depth. If the Leafs want to win this game, they have to shut down Pastrnak, Bergeron, DeBrusk, Marchand. Like, you've got to shut those guys down. You have to make sure that DeBrusk and Chara don't get into your head too much, because that's something that's happened in this series. But we've seen it go back and forth. Of course, Toronto won Game 1. Boston won Game 2. Toronto won Game 3. Boston won Game 4. Toronto won Game 5. Boston won Game 6. It all comes down to the 7th game. Which team is going to win this game? And just because it's gone back and forth, don't just assume the Leafs are going to come out and get an easy victory tonight. It's not going to be easy at all. Boston is a fantastic hockey team. Now, regardless of being a Leaf fan or whatever, as a hockey fan in general, the Boston Bruins are the team that I think of when I think of the playoffs. They've got a team that's built to be in the playoffs, regardless of what I think of guys like Marchand or DeBrusk or Char, whatever. Like, these guys play a role and they do it well. And unfortunately, that got Kadri suspended because he took the bait, he got suspended. Guys like Chara, he pisses people off. You got to make sure that you don't fall for these traps that Boston is putting down. They're a smart team. They're a veteran team. They know how to slow a game down and pick it back up when they need to score goals. So they need to be very aware of all those things tonight. And I think that this game could be very good for the Toronto Maple Leafs if they play with speed and skill. That is their game. They need to play with that. And like I said, if they do that, it could be a very different scenario other than the last 2 times that they've played. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Just a quick preview on the Leafs side of things. This doesn't mean that, I hate the Bruins or whatever like that. I'm a Leaf fan, okay? I'm talking about the Leafs side of things. So if you're a Bruins fan, let me know what you think. Good luck and, no ill will towards any Bruins fans. Let's just hope that there's a clean game tonight, and that it's a very good hockey game for not just Bruins and Leaf fans, but the entire NHL. So make sure to subscribe if you're new. I'd love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 5,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. Lots of new content coming up and a new background. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.